Welcome to the Temple Mount podcast. My name is Shogun. Today we're going to have a discussion about an interesting subject called quantum warfare. And the quantum domain is an emerging domain of warfighting or warfare. But before we get started, please make sure you've joined the Temple Mount Discord server and make sure you've joined the Temple Mount official YouTube channel and subscribe to that and our many other Temple Mount podcast channels. That being said, what is quantum warfare? I am very far from an expert in quantum science, but basically it's taking place at a very, very small, even subatomic or nano level of organization. And basically what we've found out is that at that tiny level of organization, the laws of reality themselves are basically different than when we are dealing with things at the observable scale. And apparently this is called like a dual use technology, which means it has both civilian and military applications. But not only does it have military applications, they're describing it as like a pivotal new warfighting domain, with the other warfare domains in order of historical emergence being essentially land, sea, air, cyber, and space commands or domains of war. And the quantum being an emerging one, but not only that, some people are saying that whoever achieves quote-unquote quantum supremacy will then essentially have achieved world domination in a similar way that it's been claimed that anyone who achieves supremacy in artificial intelligence will have world domination, effectively at that point, strategic domination. And these two technologies are closely connected, artificial intelligence and quantum computing. So I use the term WWQ, World War Quantum, or WWC, World War Cryptography, or World War Computer, basically. But the third World War will probably take place in the form of like cyber warfare, space warfare, and quantum warfare. So I'm not enough of an expert to just rely on myself on this. I'm going to just read a few short excerpts from the 22-page military document from the Canadian military. It says, the quantum domain is unique and counterintuitive because it challenges the seemingly objective reality to which much of humankind has become accustomed. The best example of this can be found in quantum experiments that directly challenge our understanding of physical matter, time, and space. Take light, for example. In the quantum domain, a photon of light can exist as both a particle and a wave. This is known as wave-particle duality. The double-slit test offers an empirically repeatable experiment for observing this phenomenon. By firing individual photons through a two-slit barrier and onto a screen, a wave pattern will be generated. To form a wave pattern, each individual photon must simultaneously travel through both slits along every possible pathway and interfere with these other versions of itself. This is possible because within the quantum domain, particles are inherently uncertain, probabilistic in nature, and subject to superposition. However, any form of direct observation collapses the wave function and causes the individually fired photons to behave as particles. This collapse can be triggered by placing a photon detector at the barrier slits. Such observation causes each photon to choose a definite path earlier and results in a particle pattern on the final screen. The very act of measuring a photon of light changes how it behaves. This experiment has since been successfully repeated. So if you break down what does this mean, it means that, well, as at observable levels of reality, it's like binary. You either do or don't have like a black dog in front of you. But at the quantum level, it's not binary. You both do and don't have a black dog in front of you simultaneously, as well as like both at the same time. And how does this affect warfare? Well, again, it says here, leveraging the effects described above, scientists have developed other experiments that seemingly reach back in time and further illustrate the unique characteristics of the quantum domain. By reflecting photons off a satellite, which allows two pathways to be taken back to Earth, and then choosing a measurement apparatus while the photons are traveling back to Earth, scientists demonstrated they could retroactively, meaning backwards in time, alter the path of a photon must have taken at the satellite. The path a photon must have taken at the satellite. Defies the commonly understood notion of causality and reverses cause and effects. The implication of this are significant. So what it's telling you here is that at the quantum effect, you can go backwards in time with both information and energy. So quantum effects are a form of time travel, in a sense, or reversing the chain of cause and effect. I'm only going to read two more segments. Quantum tunneling and quantum entanglement offer further evidence of unique physical characteristics that are only observed within the quantum domain. Quantum tunneling is a phenomenon whereby a particle tunnels through a barrier that classical physics would not otherwise allow. So there's a fairly obvious military application there, or would seem to be. This occurs due to the uncertain and probabilistic nature of particles within the quantum domain when in a wave state. Quantum entanglement is another phenomenon whereby paired or group particles are inextricably linked, and to measure one particle instantaneously collapses the wave function of all other entangled particles. This occurs regardless of how much distance separates the paired or group particles and happens faster than the speed of light. Seemingly every entangled particle instantly knows when another has been measured and assumes a complementary non-wave-like state of being. This experiment has now been successfully performed with photons, electrons, molecules, and even small diamonds. So if you break that statement down, it's saying that they can use a form of faster than light transfer of information or energy by using quantum effects. So you're talking about time travel and faster than light technology. So how does it actually develop into weapons? And just bear with me for a second longer. Positioning satellites are another technology under development. Finally, quantum computers that use superposition and entanglement to process vast amounts of data simultaneously offer incredible potential. Lockheed Martin claims their experimental quantum computer can sort through tremendous possibilities, more variables than all of the digital data created in an entire year in 10 nanoseconds. Furthermore, the military needs to be an active participant in the quantum domain or risk having discoveries with weapons potential concealed from them. These technologies all serve to demonstrate how technological achievement is increasingly enabling the quantum domain to be exploited by humanity. Combined with the unique physical characteristics of the quantum realm, it becomes increasingly evident that the establishment of a quantum domain of warfare bears serious consideration. So sorry for reading like extended part of text. Again, the source of that is a 22-page document by the Canadian military, which I posted in general chat. And interestingly enough, the Queen of England holds the copyright for that. It says there's copyright Queen of England. But it's a 22-page military document about the significance of quantum warfare. And again, so what does this mean? Well, if you made a quantum supercomputer that can process all the world's data in a matter of a few nanoseconds, what that means is it could also hack every password that you could possibly generate in a similarly short period of time. And that basically is why quantum supremacy is so potentially game-changing or game-ending, because how can you fight a war against an enemy who can automatically generate any password or code that you attach to any of your own technology or systems? So the first country to achieve like a quantum supercomputer that can actually function in this way, processing information in like a multi-position or superposition way instead of a binary, which is what we use now, would potentially be so far advanced that they could then outperform every other country in a matter of like just a few seconds. And it would be an unclosable gulf, essentially, that would expand geometrically. Like your advantage would be increasing second by second as your computer did more work than all the other computers put together. And I had other sources, but it was saying how like Sun Tzu was known for being able to predict entire wars and battles in his mind. Like you could mentally simulate one battle at a time. But this kind of technology in principle would allow you to run like an infinity of simulations of every battle and essentially strategically outperform any human, and would automatically, the AI would win any war that it could possibly win through quantum supremacy and artificial intelligence. So I went on a little bit too long there. Does anyone have a question or comment about this or anything? If not, that's okay. But I just think it is important to try and get ahead of this because, again, quantum supremacy along with artificial intelligence are giving a cognitive advantage to whichever nation develops them first and to the highest degree. That is universally applicable. That's why it's called like a dual-use technology. It has both civilian and military applications. Military applications include supercomputers that could be used for tactical simulations, for hacking, for firewalls, penetrating firewalls, spreading viruses, commanding satellites, et cetera, et cetera. So this is the two domains that come after space, which we already have with Space Force. And this is really not my area of interest, but or not my area of expertise, but you guys should look into the quantum eraser experiment, which literally says that that information and energy can go backwards in time, and also that information and energy can travel faster than the speed of light. So I don't know what the ultimate ramifications of this will be, but I do believe that this, and it's not just me who says this, the next world war will be like a quantum war, whatever the hell that ends up actually looking like. So this is going to be a shorter episode, which we've been trying to do more of, unless anybody has anything they want to add. If not, thank you for joining us, and make sure you have joined the Temple Mount Discord server and subscribe to the Temple Mount official YouTube channel. Thanks very much. Do not take the mark of the beast. And for those of us who want to just hang out, let's just jump to the forum, or rather Templar Tavern.